Okay, so we're live on every other platform. I just need to make sure the Facebook goes through. All right, just 1 second. Share on Facebook. All right.
Okay.
Ready when you are.
Is that?
I'm ready when you are.
Yeah, sure. I'm ready.
Okay, cool. Awesome. So just gonna introduce the show. Welcome to everybody. As y'all know by now, I'm the host, Matthew Rolls, and we will be talking to Funsho Felix today, all the way from Nigeria, which is a very special episode for us because we've never actually gone international or breached the borders of South Africa. So this is an interesting take to have different creative entrepreneurs from different arenas, and really that's what we're about. Likeminds isn't segmented to just a small group. It's where you can find people who think like you and who have who pioneer in their own rights, and that's how we founded Likeminds, and that's how we pretty much came together. So without further ado, I will introduce Felix. Just give me a second. All right, and there we have it there. So as you guys know, his name is Funsho Felix. He is the CEO and founder of Brand Salute.
Oh, yeah.
He is also a brand designer and a strategist. He also runs an Instagram account under his alias, Brand Salute, which is the company alias, and they have an amount of 20K Instagram followers that I imagine he builds through his branding insights that are recognized pretty much worldwide. And the topic of today that we will be chatting around is your 2020 strategy still effective? And yeah, so that's pretty much a breakdown of who Felix is. Felix, I hope I done you, Funsho, I hope I done you a justice in terms of introducing you and pretty much what you do. But I will give you a chance right now to just explain pretty much what you do on a day-to-day basis and what your titling or your job or your role at Brand Salute really is.
Okay, so thank you so much, Matthew. Really appreciate you. And this is one of my first live that I'm probably going to be having with someone across downtown over there. So yeah, I'm Funsho Felix, and I'm a brand designer and a brand strategist. I help brands create. I build brands that actually win people's hearts, and I do that through strategy. Sorry.
No problem.
So, and I do that through strategy, and also I create content which I do on Instagram to help people navigate through their branding routes. So yeah, basically that's what I do, and I help committed small businesses to also help them develop strategies, customized strategies, in order for them to reach their goal, help them achieve their goal, and also help them to build an overall purposeful brand.
Yeah. That's definitely like it happens sometimes. Like but that's definitely why we do. Okay, yeah, I'll just chat away.
Yeah, sure.
But just managed to fix it. Okay, cool. And that's definitely why we have Felix Funsho on board. It's because of his strategy insights as far as brand strategy. So the direction of this conversation won't be on a more technical side of strategy, but we'll speak from his strong point, which is brand strategy. But first, before we get there, we want to speak about really what this topic is really about, right? As you know it, of course, we have a global pandemic that has kind of hit the world right now, right? And we want to speak about how everybody had a strategy for 2020 come January, right? Because in January, Corona or COVID wasn't such a big thing. But what happened was a lot of brands have had to, be broken down to rebuild again. And we want to speak about that process of, okay, what happened as far as, in of course, where you're from in your country, what was happening around you? What was some of the businesses that you were, observing, going through, and what was that change like, for example, in Nigeria?
Yeah. So the coronavirus is actually a pandemic issue quite that's quite global. All right.
Yeah.
So it's not a case of maybe it's happening in one part of Africa and it's not happening in another part. It's really global. And in fact, it affected countries, Western countries, even more than Africa. All right.
Yeah.
So this pandemic has actually caused it has actually it has actually caused turn into something that is so devastating. It has rendered people homeless. It has actually when it comes to going to the corporate side now, most companies are now downsizing. They are sacking their employers in order to keep them doing business more. All right, because it has actually affected everything. I mean everything, and also it has changed the way brands do business. It has changed the way brands are connecting with people because it is no more business as usual. Customers don't need advertisement to be shown to them any longer. They don't want to see all these things that they see on a normal basis while the pandemic is still on. So it has actually changed everything, and it's no more business as usual, like I said. So brands and it has actually caused a lot of consultants, a lot of stakeholders in the branding and the business industry to actually come up with strategies that can actually help them mitigate and help them still keep their brands or business doing business more.
Definitely. And of course, with you coming from an agency perspective, where you actually have to, you might not have been directly affected by everything, but because of your job, of course, or your role at your company, where you have to act as a strategist and do these kind of solutions for companies, some of the budgets that get cut first, people like you, the strategy, the marketing guys. And how was that for you in the instance of you're trying to, tell companies that you still need to do your strategy, you still need to do your design stuff as much as whatever's happening is happening? How was that transition for you as an agency owner?
Okay, so all right, so to be frank and to be honest, when I started creating content, when I started building my personal brand, it all started this year, around January, February. So I was doing that. Why? Is because I needed to take my brand online. I needed to actually work what I want to do to people. I needed to actually test it for myself and see, okay, people can actually do this. So to actually see that, when I can do this, then I can also do this for my client. So doing the strategy right now, during this pandemic, is more important than ever, right? Because there are a lot of things that has actually changed. Like I said back then, it's no more business as usual. And so people, because it's more like you are in this particular stage of your life before, then the pandemic came and it kind of halts everything. Like everything is kind of paused. Like it's something that's because when it first came over here in Nigeria, we were first like, oh, this thing will soon pass, it will soon go. But as time goes on, as months pass by, days pass by, we now started realizing that this thing is actually we don't even know when it's going to go. So this is where we are right now, and we need to move on from here. All right. So this is where strategy comes in the sense that people are no more responding to corporate messages, corporate logos, corporate visuals. All they need right now all they need right now are brands that can actually provide help and comfort for them. That is what they need. They need brands that can actually sympathize with them and tell them, hey, we are still with you. We are with you all the way. We are also human like you. And we understand everything that is happening right now. So we are not deaf to your errands, we are not deaf to all the sufferings out there. We are also like you. So these are the kind of brands that people are looking for right now. So of course, this is where the way brand strategies come in, because we will be able to develop strategies that they can actually use to reach out to these people. People are pivoting, people are even some don't even know if to pivot their strategy or if to continue with the current strategy that they have to continue doing what they are doing, right? So this is where we come in the sense that you'll be able to analyze what market are you in, who are your customers, what are they facing, all right? What are you serving them? Is there a possibility for you to change what you're serving them, or probably just minimize it a little bit, or maybe just keep on doing what you're doing? So this is where strategy comes into place, in the sense that you'll be able to analyze all of these things, and they'll be able to relate with their clients from not the perspective of a corporate body right now, but from a perspective of someone, an individual.
No, I hear you, and it's great to speak from a technical perspective, but how hard is it? How I don't know why I'm stuttering. How hard has it been to have this conversation with clients? Because it's always a different conversation when it's like to strategists. We understand the value, right? But when you have to explain it to a client and they're like, I don't see this, as something that's valuable for me, because don't you just do logos? I just need a logo, or don't you just do a website? I just need this. Don't tell me about the strategy thing. I know how to run my business. So how hard has it been for you to convince people like that? And as of course,
it's actually, I wouldn't say it's hard, right? It's not actually hard, because they are also, because for them to actually, most clients have actually approached me, come from, I've been serving them content, so they need to take their brand to the next level, so they up into my game. So most people coming to me, most people that I've had this conversation with, they are people that are actually ready to make the change. All right, they are looking for that push, a little push, all right? And it's most time not difficult, right? Because they also know what is going on around. They know what their clients are passing through. In fact, they themselves, their brand is also having some sort of challenges, some issue here and there. So they need someone, they need consultant like us to actually give them that push, or to direct them in any way that they want to go.
No, I hear you. And at least you find it easier for you. I mean, okay, cool. A lot of not all clients are strategy or solution advice, right?
Yeah. In fact,
some you do get clients who are like, no, this is definitely not how we roll, and we know how we do what we do. And then of course you get clients like you're explaining now that okay, they haven't been adverse and they actually do want to see some of these solutions. So what I want to speak about before I touch on your arena, or your field rather, as far as like your playground in Nigeria, I want to speak about what strategic advice can you give to someone who has a small business or a small brand and is trying to rebuild now and hasn't been able to do so prior to, of course, to COVID or whatever the case. So just in general, it doesn't have to be due to COVID, but how do brands rebuild right now? What are the things or the solutions that brands should be looking for? I mean, as a brand owner, you should be looking out for, and what solutions would you give?
Yeah, of course. All right. So first thing first is that I think brands right now, of course, I'm kind of going to list them out. I might not be so I might not follow any order, but I'm just going
There's no order. It's just like whatever
so
you just so we can have.
First thing first, small businesses right now, they need to realize that these are unprecedented times. Like it is just no one called for this. It just happened. So number one thing that they need to realize is that they need to forget all the corporate bogies, all the corporate jargons, all the corporate values, all the corporate whatever. All right. Of course, brands we all have our corporate values, we all have our purpose, we all have how we do business. But right now, they just need to forget all that. They just need to forget all that. And what they need to do right now is to be human. to be human, to be empathetic as much as possible. That is the first thing. They need to stop seeing their customers as some clients. They need to stop seeing their customer as, oh, maybe he's there to pay me, or she's there to pay me, and yeah, we are done. When we do business, then we are done. No, you need to start seeing them as someone that they can actually. You need to start seeing them as more like children, right? More like a friend.
Children.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Because I think they need to start seeing them as more like a friend, like a partner. Okay? Because it's a different thing to look at someone from the customer's perspective, and it's a different thing to look at someone from the friend perspective. When you're my friend and I care for you, I want to know what's running in your mind. I want to entertain you. I want to engage with you. You know, they need to start seeing their customer as their partner, someone that they can relate with. You know, they don't just need to forget about all the corporate messages and all of the jargon. You just need to put that aside and see your customer as your friend. Then the second one is that they need to also watch out. Like, of course, everybody, okay, don't let me say watch out. They need to also be patient. Let me put it that way. Because, you know, this pandemic has actually caused a whole lot of things. Most people are actually panicking. Oh, my business is going to go off, or oh, some banks are downsizing, some companies are downsizing. What is the fate of my business? They need to actually be patient, all right? Because when you make decisions when you're panicking, you tend to make some bad decisions sometimes. Right? You tend to come up with bad things. You tend to not make decisions that are actually sane. So you need to calm down, be patient, and just look at things. Look at things from the perspective of not a business owner right now, but maybe someone like a stakeholder in the business, not necessarily be the business owner. Okay. All right. So you need to be patient. That is the second one. So the third one is that you need to actually watch out for competitors. All right, because small business owners tend to just think that, oh, it's them only, it's them only. It's not you only. It is not you only. You have other people that are doing business too in your niche, in your industry. Watch out for them. What are they doing? What steps are they taking? Are they also panicking like you, or are they also investing in some other things as you? You just need to watch out for your competitors, because forget whether you like it or not, our competitors they are what makes us better. If you don't have any competitor, then I don't think you'll be forced to actually get better. I don't think you'll be forced to want to improve. So when you look at your competitors, you'll be able to know what they are doing, what steps to take, and you'll be able to know how the industry is actually responding to this pandemic issue. All right. So I think the next one is that you should not completely go out of business. A lot of brands think, oh, these are pandemic times, like these are unprecedented times. The pandemic is everywhere. People are looking over their head, over their shoulder. They are trying to fend for their families and friends. So I think I'm no more in business. Then I should probably just step down for now till everything goes out. Now I think the pandemic is still around, and I think some brands are still trying. So brands you don't need to go out of business. In fact, you don't need to step down or anything. It's just, I think most time this is where the strategy part comes in, because when you probably hook up with the strategies, then you're able to see all these things from the perspective of the strategist, all right? But the thing is, you don't necessarily need to go out of business, all right? In fact, I think according to a statistic that I saw recently, brands that, according to a research survey, I think this year also, 8% of customers actually wanted brands to step down from their business. 8% out of 100. All right. So that shows you that customers don't actually need you to step down. Customers don't actually need you to go out of business or pause whatever you are doing. All right. In fact, this is the time that they need you the most. This is the time that you need to stand by them. This is the time that you need to communicate what you do the most. All right. So you don't need to step down. Just continue what you're doing. Yeah. So the next one that I need to talk about, which is very important, is to understand your why. All right. The big why, I used to say this in every other life that I go to. A brand doesn't start with the visuals, and it doesn't start with the logo. Your brand starts with the big why, the big picture. I think you should know this too, Matthew. Your why is the biggest thing. Is at the top of the It's at the base of
It's
the pyramid.
literally the top. It's purpose, right?
All right, I think it's at the top. All right, say that it's at
Right
the top
at
of
the
the pyramid
top.
upon which everything is built. Okay, do you understand? So you need to, because these times most people are, like I said, the panic is really done. Like the panic is everywhere, everybody's panicking. So you need to calm down, be patient, and think back. If you have your strategic document, go back to it, then check out what you wrote there. What is your why? What are you standing for? What is the big picture? Who are you committed to? How you been committed to them? All right, because when you understand the big picture, when you understand your big why, then you'll be able to know that, okay, I'm not actually doing this for this, and I'm not actually doing this for that. I'm actually doing this because of this cause, because of this purpose. So when you realize that purpose, you realize that cause, then everything will be clear and be able to make proper and informed decision. All right. So
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you.
okay. So
I'm
the
actually
next
just
thing.
taking what you're saying and I'm trying to draw a line in between what you're saying so I can throw it back.
Okay. Okay.
So when you're talking, I'm
So
listening.
I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think another thing that actually comes to mind also is that you need to also, when it comes to businesses, when it comes to products and services, brand needs to also know that you don't need to cancel out some products or maybe just tone down the way you market your product to people. I think this is the time that brands need to actually communicate the relevance of these products to people. I don't think if you understand what I'm trying to say. Let me say, for instance, right now, for instance, Zoom, the Zoom that we are using right now, they've been here for long. They've been doing business for long. When pandemic came, they didn't say, oh, we are pandemic is coming, then, oh, sorry, we need to tone down the way we do business and all of that. This is the time that they actually up their game and they actually realize the importance of actually doing business online, the importance of face-to-face interaction, the importance of meetings, online meetings. All right. This is the time that they actually communicated that message out there to people. And people now realize, oh, you know what? Then we are having a meeting, we're having it on Zoom. This is when more and more people are now starting to realize that Zoom is actually some place that you can actually do meetings, like virtual meetings, meetings with 20 people, 30 people, 50
No,
people.
I totally agree. I totally agree. I think so. Also, what you're saying is the way you do business shouldn't necessarily change because of a situation. It doesn't have to be a pandemic. You just have to basically continue. And maybe what you can do differently is now start stating what your value is more than an offer, right? And start marketing why your product. Exactly.
It goes in that line. It goes in that line. That is the thing.
Yeah.
So you have to go back to the drawing board and probably just draw up a list of your products or services. Find out their key benefits, the benefits of all these products. Then try to pick, does the benefits align with the current situation right now? Because trust me, the benefit of Zoom right now is super, super important to this time, to this current
No,
time.
it has.
All right. So
I was never on Zoom until now.
Exactly. Had it been Zoom just retracted and everything just, people, this conversation wouldn't have been possible. Do you understand? So that is the thing. Go back to your product, go back to your services, see the product see the benefit that it offers. If it fits into this strategy, if it fits into this situation, if you feel that the benefits can actually be of huge importance to people out there, then trust me, continue with your marketing, continue with whatever you are doing. All right. I think the next one that actually comes to my mind is that brands should be empathetic. I don't know if that is the right word, but I think right now.
Yeah, you did mention it. Human empathetic.
Okay, so I think what I'm trying to say is that, the next one that I wanted to say is that brands should go digital. I think this is the most important point of all. I don't know if you agree with me, Matthew. Going digital is actually the most important
going digital. No, definitely.
Most important thing.
Any business right now should be looking at how to be digital and how to be global. I mean, look, if you think about it, being digital is my platform, for example, Likeminds. being able to do this talk. This is us going digital, because prior to this, I like to make this example. We just had in-person events, right, which was only secluded to people who were in Johannesburg. But now we have a situation where the pandemic has allowed us to reach Nigeria, and I don't know where next, right? And it's like, that is what digital can do for you, and it's what digital could have done for me had I thought, okay, let's try and reinvent the wheel. Let's try and do things differently. You know what I mean? Let's go digital and digital in the right way. You know, you can go digital, but you need to go digital in the right way.
In the right way. See, I think that is the main point there. Thanks for that point. I think brands right now, because as it is, people think some brands are online, and but thing is, I still find it hard to believe that most brands, especially in Nigeria, most of them are yet to go online. Like, you ask most business owners and ask them, how is your social media? How is your website going? Are you running any campaign online? And they tell you, yeah, we just have something, and so we are not really active, and stuff like that. Most people have the digital what page and everything, but most of them are not active. So it's not about having an active social. It's not about having a page on social media. It's not about having a website. The key thing is that, are you active? That is the key thing. Because right now, a lot of people are at home, especially in Nigeria, for the first 4 or 5 months. A lot of us are at home. We are doing nothing, basically doing nothing. Everybody is binging Netflix. Everybody is just powering Facebook, Twitter, and all of this stuff. Do you understand? So right now, if brands can actually leverage the power of digital, then trust me, they'll be able to connect with more people now than they've ever connected when they are doing business physically. All right? Because digital, people right now, a lot of people are online. I think there was a recent statistic that I saw about when the pandemic started. A lot of people started using Facebook. A lot of people started using TikTok. In fact, TikTok witnessed a lot of traffic during that time. Instagram also. So if brands can actually leverage digital marketing, especially when they start to market their brands digitally, then trust me, they are is a very good strategy for any small business. Go digital. All right, take your business over there.
Okay? Yeah, definitely. All right.
And so okay. So on that note, while you're going digital, of course, you need to have strategies too. Strategy is really it's a cut across, all right? Because you can't just say you're going digital. What do you want to be posting on digital? What is your strategy like? Who are the people that you're trying to reach? Of course, are your audience, the digital platform that you choose to use, are your audience there? It's ask yourself, because not all of your audience will be on Instagram, not all of them will be on TikTok, especially. Not all of them will be on Facebook. In fact, they might be, but they might not be active. Right? So you need to ask yourself, you need to also develop strategies for your digital. Where are my audience mostly? What do they do online? What do they engage? What do they engage with? What kind of content do they find I'm using? What time of the day, which location, the demographic, the psychographics, they all need to know all of these things before going digital. And so, why still like that? They also need to strategize what kind of content are they going to be posting? Because digital, the currency of digital is content. So they need to know the kind of content they need to be posting. And so the content, they don't just need to be content. They don't need to be content that promotes their product. Right now, what your customer needs from you is to provide them with valuable content. And so when we're talking about valuable content, then value is interpreted in different ways. Value means different things to different people. But most times, value cuts across entertainment, education, inspiration, and what have you. So you need to start posting content that revolves around these things. They need to be entertained, they need to be inspired, and also they need to be educated in any way that you choose. So you have to leverage these things and make sure that you are doing it consistently on a daily basis on your pages.
Yeah, most definitely.
So I think these are the key points that I can actually.
Those are some good key points. I must admit, I've written a few down here before I forgot. And I'll just bring them back. But what I want to do is just say a special shout out to everybody who's watching on our YouTube, our
Shout
Facebook, our
out, guys.
Twitter, everybody who's watching from Funsho's platforms or from his audience, everybody from Nigeria or in the rest of the world, wherever you're from. Shout out to you for being part of this conversation. And yeah, I hope you be part of more of these. What I would like to say is the Likeminds team, I need you guys to be ready because I'm about to do something really cool. I'm about to recite everything that Funsho has said. So as I said, I was trying to draw a line in between what points you're actually trying to make and what kind of pointers can the audience take home, right? And as far as the points go, number one on the list is empathy, right? You want to be human, right? Or you want to treat your clients as human and as a friend or as a family member. And if you had a client that was guys as a human being or a family member, you would care what this person eats, what this person thinks about, how this person shops, how this person does whatever it is that's important to that person. So ideally, you want to find out what's important and you want to help them with whatever problems they do have.
Yeah.
Point number two was you want to go digital, right? And digital in the right way. Don't just have a Facebook page, a Twitter page, or social media, or just stuff for credentials. But you must actually use those platforms for the right reasons. And then that brings me to point three. You need to be strategy driven. And strategy driven, of course, allows you to go digital in the right way. So being strategy driven is kind of like, I like to make this example, it's like being in a ship, right? You have the captain and you have the people that work in the engine room. As the captain, you need to be able to decide the direction and the speed that you're going.
Yeah.
And where you're trying to aim. And the people in the engine just kind of keep the boat afloat, right? They make sure that you don't sink. They make sure that you're going at the right speed. But the captain cannot be in the engine room, right? Because they need to be upstairs, making sure that you're going to the right place. So being strategy driven is saying, okay, this is my product. I want to go digital, but where am I going and at what speed am I going at? So that's being digital, having a strategy for where you're going. Otherwise, you could just be going anywhere and doing anything and wasting resources and time. And maybe you won't even get the results that you want out of what you're trying to achieve with your brand. Number four will be value driven, right? And I think it forms part of strategy, but be value driven. And what we mean by value driven is whatever it is that's your why in your brand or your company, you must be able to state that for your audience and remind them why you're important, because now more than ever, you need to actually show what it is that you do and why it's important for people. Because it's like, first of all, because of the pandemic, cash flow isn't as fluid as it once was. So when we do spend our money, we want to know where we're spending it and why we're spending this amount of money and will it bring a return. So you as a brand or a business needs to be able to show that very, very, very specifically that A, B, C, D will do A, B, C, D. And you're not just in business for the sake of being in business, or you don't just have a brand for the sake of being on YouTube or being on TV or whatever it is. So being value driven is one of the most important points, I think, personally. And then the last point we mentioned is content. Now, the content part is how you stay active on your digital mediums, right? And how you continue to create eyeballs for, not necessarily create eyeballs, but bring people to your digital platforms and allow them to consume content that kind of aligns with your brand. It keeps them there, depending on what your content does, whether it informs, inspires, or entertains, it all forms part of why you exist as a brand. And it really just is an extension of what you do, right? It may not be, because for example, a film company may create funny videos on YouTube, but it's not what they do, right? What they do is cinematography. They shoot weddings, they shoot movies and the likes, but them shooting those funny videos and entertaining you is an extension of what they do and their capacity and ability to do a specific task. So those are the five 5 points that Funsho has mentioned. I'll just mention them once again. Empathy, going digital, being value-driven, being strategically driven, and being content-driven as well. And those are the points that you've mentioned. I don't know if I left anything out.
You said?
I don't know if I left anything out as far as...
No. I think you perfectly nailed it.
Okay, thank you. Right. So now I just want to speak about... I'm trying to decide between these two questions. One, I want to know, because I have you in this call, like what companies are doing really well in Nigeria, as far as, brands go. Because here in South Africa, for example, we have Chicken Licken, right? I don't know if you're aware of their brand. We have lots of brands that are doing really well here in South Africa, right? And are capitalizing on the pandemic and just capitalizing on, the situation at hand, and are really doing well as far as brands go, right? I want to know if in Nigeria you have a couple of brands that are doing the same thing, and maybe we can speak about a case study. And then also I want to speak about what you do at Brand Salute. Okay. So you can choose which question you want to go first. Do you want to handle what you do at Brand Salute, or do you want to handle and what's your why behind Brand Salute, and then we can then handle, of course, the question that I mentioned earlier.
Can I take them one after the other, or I just have to make one choice?
You can mention them one after the other. You can make one choice, but that's up to you. I'm just letting you know pretty much where we can take this conversation.
Let me talk about Brand Salute.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, so Brand Salute is, in fact, when I started out, it was because I would say my story, my brand, like my personal brand story, in a way, inspired how Brand Salute came up. When I started out designing logos, like logos, and the customers will come to me, I need this logo, and I'm going to do them, nothing much, probably just ask them a few questions here and there, then get right to designing the logos. All right, so I was sketch logos back then, and it was just about logos. So over time, I now felt like, hey, I am not into logos anymore. I'm now trying to do more like because right now then I now dived into doing some other brand assets, designing some other brands assets for customers, and I started doing a full branding, designing all the flyers or the posters, coming up with identity systems, typographies, and font, the colors. So I now felt like the name doesn't actually resonate with me. So I opted for a change, and I was called Cage Designs then. So I changed the logos to
change the name. Okay.
So now Cage Designs. Well, I don't know the affinity behind me sticking with Cage, but the affinity didn't really last. And that was when I now felt like, okay, I think I need to take my brand from, because there was this particular thing about the Cage. It was causing a lot of trouble for people pronouncing it. Some people were saying Kache, some were saying Cage, some were saying Kak, and all other kind of pronunciation. So I met with a naming expert. So we worked together, and we decided to come up with something, a name that is going to be mine, and also going to relate what I have to offer to people. And that is where Brand Salute came to. So Brand Salute is not it's not a French word, it is not a Greek word, it is just absolute branding. Absolute branding. So that is the word Brand Salute means. So my intention, my big why, is to help brands from the strategic aspect, from the strategic point of view, to help them build winning brands. All right, because I realize in Nigeria, there are a lot of designers, and here and there trying to design logos. And most of the time, some it's the point while the visual is amazing, the visual is awesome. But most of the time, you see that the logos are different from actually what they brand. So I needed to position my brand as something that is we're not just about the logos, we're not just about the design. Then we are going to be building brands for you from the strategic aspect. I'm going to be combining brand strategy to create visual design that actually resonates with the people that are targeted. All right. So that is basically what I do. And for all my clients, I provide them brand strategy services, brand design services. So the brand strategy services is when we come up with big picture, the internal branding, basically, where I help them give clarity as regards their why, as regards their what, and as regards their how. Do you understand? So that is what I do. And in the brand strategy, I also understand that a whole lot of business owners does not even know anything about their business. Like, they tend to preach, oh, we do this, we do that. But when it gets to me having conversation with them, when it gets to me asking them questions, key questions about their brand, they tend to find it difficult and true. So this is why I pride clarity so much when I'm doing strategy sections with my clients. That, oh, it is not even about the document I'm going to send to you after the whole thing, because I'm actually going to send them a summary document, and it's not about the fact that we're having videos. I'm seeing you. No, that is not it. So I pride in the fact that I help them gain clarity, and that clarity is very, very important, because trust me, when you are clear about something that is actually yours, like, just imagine maybe you went to an electronic store, get yourself a TV, and the TV has a whole lot of buttons without remote, without anything, and you bring it to your house, and you're there searching for the manual, and the manual is nowhere to be found. Then you start doing every guesswork. Oh, this is the nest, this is the volume, this is everything. It is very difficult once you don't know what you actually are. So that is the case when it comes to the business owners. They don't actually know their business. So in the strategy section, I now help them unravel all the webs. I help them clear all the webs as regards what they do and why they are doing it. So that is when they now start to get, oh, this is why I do it. Oh, I really didn't know this before. And that is the point whereby I get excited, I get happy, because trust me, the clarity, the fact that, oh, now I know my business in and out. That is what gives me joy. And when I do that, and when I do the research, come up with good positioning and the personality that they want to express, then I now combine everything and come up with visuals that not only is aesthetically pleasing, visuals that actually align with their strategy. Because it's a different thing to say, oh, I want to design a logo and start guessing, oh, this is direction, this is direction. Now, when you do this strategy, you are clear. You know that this business, this is what they do, this is where they are going, this is their goal. All you need to do is just to find something that key into their goals, that key into their plans, so that when everything comes out, when the brand eventually launches, you'll be able to see that everything is going to come together in, like a rectangle that just found all these angles. All right. So that is what I do. That is what brand suit does.
Okay.
Now, This is what I do. But of course, on the side, I do consultations for clients that are finding it hard to, take their brand to the next level. I do some consultations for them, and I help them come up. I give them advice, tips in order to take their brand to the next level.
Okay, great stuff. Were you always in the industry, background-wise, or did you just recently just decide, okay, this is where you want to go, direction?
I didn't get that.
What's that?
Repeat what you said. Sorry.
I said, background-wise, was this something you're always doing, for the last 5 years, or is it something that you decided that, okay, this is the next transition I want to make?
Okay, so for the last 3 years, I started design. Not like started design. I've actually been doing design for like 7 years thereabouts. That I actually got to learn about design. So it was just an on and off thing. Got to do it, then drop it for a while. Then I picked it up, and that was when I established my agency. So it was all design at first. There was no strategic background at first. But as I proceed and as I get to understand my customers, as I get to understand that, we are doing everything wrong. We are doing it wrong. So if you are doing logo just by aesthetics, you are doing logo just by intuition, then it's wrong. Because you need to, I realized that a whole lot of them are running their business based on guesswork. So it was just more like a passion to get my clients the result that they want. So I started taking courses. I started reading books on brand and strategy. So that was when I got my ideas. And it was all take trial and error in the first place. I got to do couple lots with some people. Then, later I got to refine my process. And now I'm starting to, understand business more.
Yeah, I won't lie. Strategy does do that to you. End up starting to see the business for what
Of
it is,
course.
as opposed to just being there doing the design stuff underground, trying to make a logo pop, trying to do colors, trying to do all of those things. And now you're just like, okay, where does this go after that? And that was one of my biggest questions as a designer. It was like, okay, you do this logo. Next year, this client is no longer here. You don't know why. Another client, same thing. Another client, same thing. Maybe there's something I'm not doing, or it's something they're not doing. And of course, because usually small businesses, they don't have a team of 15 assisting them with the operations, assisting them with, strategic direction and all of those things. So it becomes a thing of like, okay, cool. How do we do this now? How do we do it differently? How do I provide value? So that's where I think from your list of tips, value became a thing for me, where I was like, okay, cool. How can I start to be more valuable to clients? How can I make sure that even if they're not around 5 years plus, because strategy is not a guarantee, it's just a reduction in risk, right?
Exactly.
That's all it is. So if I can help entrepreneurs reduce their risk, which is really what entrepreneurship is about, it's a calculated risk opportunity. So if I can help you do that, then I would be really doing my why. I would be out there doing exactly. So I understand pretty much where you're at. I just wanted to know in terms of like where your background is, where you're always at. And look, when it comes to strategy and stuff, you don't have to, and I think you've shown it. You said you've built your page over a year. You don't have to have been in the game for 15 years to have the knowledge that you have, right? It's just saying, okay, I've done this. This is my opinion on this and that.
That is the thing.
Exactly. That's how you become an expert, right? An expert is someone who has done something and can repeat it or teach it. That's what it is. You've done logos, you understand how this works. Now you can teach people how to do it better. How to be more visually pleasing, and that's what it is, right?
I love that, man.
No, that's definitely quite impressive on your end as well, to be able to build a page like yours, because I think some of the people that follow your page are some people that I respect in the strategy game, and it was like, oh, okay, she's following him as well, okay, which means okay, he does know his thing, he's literally on the right path. So yeah, that's been interesting. But as for me, I feel like we've wrapped up the conversation. The 5 tips will be there for the team to put down. I'm not sure if they're on already, but yeah, and the conversation will stay live. So for those who want to revisit this conversation, you will be able to do that. And yeah, I think for me, that's all. I don't know if Funsho, if you have any last point that you'd like to leave the audience with, and then we can just end the conversation.
I think when it comes to the last point that I like to leave is that brands, or if you as a business owner, because I am a solopreneur, I don't have a team yet, but I have plans to have a team. So if you are running your business as a brand, then you don't need to think brand in 5 months. You don't need to think your brand is going to be fully formed in a year. You don't need to think your brand is going to be fully formed in 2 years. See, brand is a long-term game, and that is what most people don't understand. Brand is a long-term game. You should be ready to play the long-term game, and you should not be pressured. All right. Understand that you are building something. All right. It's not your something is not fully done. It's not fully done. It's a process. In fact, every brands across the world, Apple, all of them, they are still building their brand. All right. So you need to understand that your brand is a process, and you keep on continuing building it till it gets to the desired pinnacle that you want. And also, you just need to understand your why, your big picture. Trust me, that is what is going to get you going when you're down, when you're excited, when you're in the middle. you need to understand why you're doing what you're doing.
And when you're unpaid.
Exactly. Everything is going to be clear, and you're going to have a peace of mind. Trust
me. Yeah.
Right.
Awesome. Thanks for that point, Felix.
Thank you so much, bro.
I don't know why I like to referring to you. Is it your middle name or your surname, Felix?
You said Felix is
Felix.
my third. No, actually, I have two names. Funsho is my first name, and Felix is my second.
Okay, so I'm calling you Funsho or Felix is the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. I'm not calling you by your surname. That's cool. So yes, once again, what I'd like to say is thank you for thank the audience as well for all your engagement.
Thank you guys. I really appreciate you guys, for everyone that came from Instagram, to everyone that came on Twitter, I think, and LinkedIn also. Thank you so much. And my WhatsApp. Thank you so much, guys.
Okay, cool. Guys. Definitely, we'll put some of your deal where people can find you up on our description at the end of the video. So we'll have that. So for people who want to follow Funsho for more information, they'll be able to do that. And yeah, so from me, that's it. And yeah, hope that we can meet again on the community and have another conversation sometime soon.
Definitely.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Felix.
Take care, man.
Cheers.
All right.
All right.